Ah, the serene calm of the beautiful Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania, about to be shattered by the roar of stock cars. Wind them up and let them go. That's what we're about to do. Fast Friday continues with qualifying for the Monster Energy Series presented by K&N. Beautiful day, a lot of sun. Temperature made its way up to about 76 earlier. Track temp now 108 degrees and a few clouds. And note the flag and how it is stretched out there. That is going to be one of the stories of qualifying. So welcome back as we get ready to go after an hour and a half of practice. Now you're set to tackle 3 different length straightaways, 3 different radius and bank turns. And oh, by the way, shifty business.
Yeah, well, now it's time to scare yourself. Because I think Jeff may allude this in our practice show. I have seen guys, and I've done it myself, pick up a second here over what you practiced. Wow. And that's just how much you pick up a little in turn 1, you pick up a little in 2, and you pick up a little in 3, and the first thing you know, that mounts up to be quite a quick lap around here. So that's what I'll be watching. I know you're going to shift down in turn 1. Not sure about turn 2. I personally wouldn't shift there. I'd be wanting to focus on getting across there with the best line I could, not with shifting gears. So what do you think? You raced here before I have.
Well, you already talked about all the challenges that these drivers are going to be faced with here in qualifying. In order to pick up 3/4 of a second or a second, however much we're going to see here, they're going to deal with some very difficult new things. That the track temp has gone up, the wind is picked up, and all that does is sail you down into turn 1. And oh, by the way, you got to stop, you got to slow down and do that downshift that DW alluded to. That's going to be really difficult to find that 3/4 of a second or whatever they're going to pick up. 3,500-foot
front straightaway, and you're going to have that wind right at your tail all the way down into turn 1, and then pushing the car up the racetrack as you try to negotiate the corner. Here's a look at NASCAR's most unique racetrack. There's the straightaway at Bristol. There's the straightaway at Charlotte. It's roughly half of this distance, 3,740 feet. And then when you come out at turn 1 onto the Long Pond Straight, that is 3,000 feet long. Widest, close to the longest straightaway in all of racing. And what turn 4, of course. Here's Matt Yoakum.
Kevin Harvick trying for his first pole and win here at Pocono. A few final conversations with Cheddar Bob Smith, your car chief. Are you going to be cloud watching? When the sun went behind the cloud, you can just feel the temperature come down.
I leave the cloud watching to you because that's usually where you're looking, is in the clouds. So, no, it definitely doesn't hurt anything here. So I think on a cool day like this, everything is going to go fairly good for condition-wise, just for the fact that it's cool outside. So that tailwind down into turn 1 might be big. That might be a different story. So you already have a pretty big head of steam. So not overdriving turn 1 will be hard for me not to do, because I read back at my notes, and that's pretty common for me to overdrive turn 1 and miss the bottom. So we'll see. Our Busch Ford's been good, and hopefully it stays that way.
Jeff and DW, was that a challenge for you guys, overdriving turn 1?
It sure was for me.
I was always guilty of letting off maybe a little too early.
Pole position qualifying for Sunday's 400-miler. Next. Pocono Raceway is unique. Strategically located, about equidistant between 2 major population centers, New York and Philadelphia, and designed after 3 racetracks all built at the turn of the prior century. Trenton Speedway, pretty high bank for its day, 14 degrees, 90-degree corner, mirroring Indianapolis. And then the Milwaukee Mile, built in 1899 with an almost flat 6-degree corner.
Mike, you mentioned Milwaukee being like the oldest of those tracks. And it is, but you know, Nashville is the oldest continuing operated racetrack today.
Interesting. Or look at the different straightaways and the banking in these 3 unique corners.
Or lack thereof.
Yes, in the case of 3. Let's join Jamie Little.
Well, Joey Logano is a 2-time pole sitter here, and Joey, it's good to see you guys. Must have found something, jumped up there in the top 5 in first practice. Feel like you have something for your 3rd pole, maybe?
Yeah, I think we got some good speed in the Shell Pennzoil Ford this week. We definitely picked up a lot from the last few weeks, and so we just got to go out here and qualify and execute. So yeah, it felt good. We actually had some speed and we were moved up the board. So you know, hopefully we can be saying the same thing here in about an hour or so.
Thank you.
Danica Patrick coming off a top 10 at Dover in that wild finish to last week's 400 miler. And Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car is on the line to qualify, and we'll get into it a little bit later when we come back, why that may be a little bit of a surprise to us. He had his issues in practice. Details to follow as we get ready to qualify at Pocono. Dale Earnhardt Jr. getting a helmet on as Hans is in place. He's getting ready to qualify now. Martin Truex Jr. taking a snap with a fan, and now the track is open for qualifying.
Let's go get us a lap.
We were curious about Jr. because in practice he missed a shift. The transmission hung in gear, and when he shifted from third to fourth, it went to second. We call that the money shift. And he tweeted later the engine went to 12,600 RPM, which is 3,000 more than it's designed to. So they've changed the engine and the transmission in that car.
Yeah, and there's a situation now, you got one less set of tires, and you know, we've seen a couple times this year where guys like that, Jimmy Johnson comes to mind, and we watch him, they didn't even make a qualifying attempt. But I think Junior's going to go out, maybe just be sure that engine's okay in this little section.
Yeah, let's just clarify, by changing that engine, that means that you have to start at the back.
Yes.
You know, once you change your race engine that you came with, go to a backup engine, that automatically sends you to the back. But NASCAR would like to see them go out and at least attempt a qualifying run, so they're going to do that.
So two things we haven't seen much. Number one, every car was on the line ready to qualify when the session opened. Everyone made it through inspection. And two, number of the hot dogs out on track right away.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson, you saw he took off right away, wanted a clean racetrack. Maybe he wanted this cloud that's above, cooling the track temp a little bit, and wanted to get out there and make this lap. But look at traffic he's coming up on as he goes into the tunnel turn. Some cars that he's coming up on, I don't know if they will affect him. They're pretty far out there.
I wish there was a car just in front of me and it was just barely catching him when I come across the line. Might be a little help right there.
You know, guys, he was one of the few drivers to stay in qualifying trim that entire practice. He, Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Busch. I think the reason there's only a 1 hour practice, actually 55 minutes tomorrow, one of them, to get ready to race. So a lot of teams in race trim earlier.
Yeah, the other thing, Larry, is I think this car was ready to get. I think they knew they had a good race car. They wanted to go out and get them a good lap.
51.655.
And that's a good bit faster than what we saw, or just about a tenth, I think, faster. Is that right? From what we saw, Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson, I think they were 51.7.
Actually, 50.75.
Oh, they were 50. Yeah, so
earlier.
yeah, you're right. They actually lost some time.
Jimmy practiced at a 51.34.
Oh, so right about what he practiced. And Boyer goes a little bit faster than Jimmy, about 3/10.
And Boyer is a tenth faster than he practiced.
And Kansas going about a tenth and a half faster than Boyer.
51.22, yes.
But we just have to remember we're going to go 3 sessions here, so you don't want to burn them down in this one. You just want to go the next round.
Casey Kane third.
You just want to go to the next round, but you don't want to have to sweat it at the end of round one whether you're going to make it. And this is one of those tracks, because of this tire that Goodyear brings, I've seen cars go back out a second time and pick up a decent amount, so you need to have a really safe number.
Larry, let me ask you, Dale Earnhardt Jr. right now is 5th on the board. We know he's not qualifying for starting position because of the engine change, but will his qualifying position give him that pit selection?
Yeah, I mean, pit selection's huge everywhere we go. I just don't think it's that much of a priority here because pit road is so wide, the pit boxes. I would not have run that fast of a lap. I would have run a conservative lap, made sure I didn't advance the next round, and be on fresher tires to start this race Sunday.
208 miles an hour into turn 1 for Kevin Harvick.
And that's with a
That's
pretty
right.
major tailwind. That wind's picked up about 10 miles per hour from that first practice earlier today, at least when you get into the gusts. So that may have been a little bit conservative. We heard Kevin Harvick worrying about overdriving turn 1. They might be able to get in there a little bit harder and deeper than that. we'll see now that they've made a lap.
Yeah, Mike, going down this long front straightaway, all you think about is how fast you're going.
And you have lots of time to think about it, right?
And how am I going to woe this thing up?
But I will say Harvick's putting together one heck of a lap here. Going to be quite a bit faster than who's at the top of the board, Matt Kenseth.
Paul Menard third, and Harvick to the top, 50.737.
73.
And that's what we saw as the fastest lap out of Kyle Larson earlier in practice today.
Eric Jones second, 51.
He didn't hold back, DW, talking about Kevin Harvick.
No, but you know, a funny thing about I think Harvick, I think this is one of the tracks he's never won on.
Ryan Newman to second.
Yeah, I think it surprisingly. He's been a runner-up a couple of times, but never won here.
You know, but one of the things that he's done so well this year, I know he hasn't gone to victory lane yet this year, but he's won, what, 2 or 3 poles this year. So when it comes to qualifying, he's been the guy to beat several times.
Austin Dillon on the clock. And Michael McDowell.
He certainly carried some speed into turn 1. We saw Michael McDowell going to the green into turn 1. I talked about Harvick probably being a little conservative into turn 1, and that turn 1 by Michael McDowell kind of shows that.
Yeah, Mike said that it would sail you down the front straightaway. You just don't want to sail out of here. Because I'm telling you, there's a strong wind down that front straightaway.
Truex was also faster than Harvick through turn 1, and then went from green to red. Martin Truex from New Jersey, of course, the Eastern Motorsports Press Association Driver of the Year, was honored at their banquet back in January. Dillon to 5th, McDowell 6th.
Martin got his first win here driving for Furniture Row. Back in, I think it was back in June of 15.
Truex will be 3rd.
Right in front of his teammate, Eric Jones, who made a nice run. We didn't talk much about him in practice, but Truex and Eric Jones, 3rd, 4th.
Here's the great story of the day. Bubba Wallace making his debut.
Darrell Wallace Jr. making his first career start. He will be in the 43 until Eric Almirola is well enough to return. Jamie.
And because this is his first time qualifying a Cup car and he just got out of his Xfinity car, Drew Blickensterfer, his crew chief, told me there's some things he's reminding him of. You track bar adjuster on board, he doesn't normally have that. He said use it if you need it. Switches he reminded him about, and of course braking and shifting points that are different for these cars.
I just think that he's taken a great approach to this whole thing. So far through practice, and we'll see how qualifying goes. Don't overdo it.
I was going to say, I think he just got his first lesson in overdoing it. He carried that number 43 car down into turn 1, overshot it just slightly.
Well, we know he has the overdo it gene in him because we've seen it. We've seen him do it, but the
aggressiveness is not at all anything you have to worry about with him.
He said he spent a lot of time at Ford on their simulator, trying to learn the nuances of running Pocono in a Cup car. Ryan Blaney 4th. At a 51.02, Daniel Suarez 16th, Ray Galding 19th, and Wallace 6th fastest. Nice run.
That's great. I think
that's a heck of a run, boys.
That's fantastic. That would get him to round 2.
I think so. Like, Jeff, these guys talk about the simulator, and I know you've been in the Chevrolet one a couple, 3 times. What do you learn? What do you take away from one of those things when you've been in it, and what do you bring to the track?
Well, it's amazing how realistic it is. I actually made laps here at Pocono in the simulator, and the braking points, the way the car reacts, the adjustments the team can make, it's as if you're here for a practice session.
Let's see what we got
Larson.
Here.
Wow, he really picked up.
50.38. Kyle Busch, a 54 for 2nd.
Larson.
Hamlin, a 51.22 for 10th.
Logano was good. He was his best I've seen him practice in a while. He's got 2 poles and 1 win here.
He's going to be top 5. 4th for Logano, 50.79.
Boy, it's shaping up to look a lot like our practice ended earlier.
Kurt Busch 5th.
Yep.
Stenhouse 21st. Chase Elliott 16th.
I think the only one really that hasn't backed up what they ran in practice or being in our top 4 or 5 is Matt Kenseth down in 11th.
Allmendinger 13th. That knocks out Suarez, puts Matt DiBenedetto on the hot seat.
Well, see the two, Keselowski get a little bit loose right in the middle, 1 and 2. That's not the way you want to start your lap. Now he knows what just happened. He knows he's got to make up some time. He's really got to hit this tunnel turn, drive in here, turn in late, back to the gas hard, out up to the wall. Now he's got to think about how hard does he want to drive into turn 3. Another turn in late during qualifying, get right down to that yellow line. Up to third, hard back to the gas.
Well, what the other thing he knows, Jeff, is he knows he gets another shot at this. So if he gets a decent lap, he can go out and correct what he did wrong.
Danica Patrick 19th and
he got a
5th
decent
for
lap.
Keselowski.
Wow, with that mistake down in 1 and 2, if he tweaks and fixes that, he'll definitely have a shot at the pole.
That's what I love about this qualifying. I mean, you know, I've said this every week, and I'll never forget it. I always said, if I could just go do that one more time. Well, now you can go do it one more time.
McMurray 10th. That knocks out Trevor Bayne and Stenhouse. So Earnhardt is on the hot seat now, 24th. Here's Dale Jr. talking about his run.
I think the lap was too bad. It stopped. Yeah, I think I could have ran faster if I was a little more comfortable. Yeah, directionally, that's definitely going to be better for us. So we'll get tuning on it.
Sounds to me like they may have used that a little bit of a test session. They tried something different than they had in the car as a setup, and he liked what he felt, so that gave him some good direction to work on for tomorrow's practice.
And he ran a much quicker lap, I think, than he intended to. So even though he's on the hot seat right now, still, that's a 51.77.
And here's Brad Keselowski after his run.
I don't know what to do here. That was terrible. That was terrible. But you tell me what to do differently. I don't know. I can't do this.
Who was that? It didn't sound like Keselowski.
That didn't sound like Keselowski at all.
That's his spotter, Joey Meyer, talking to him.
Okay, so yeah, maybe they're talking about traffic and when to get him in and out of traffic. Not really sure.
Yeah, they're not on the same page. That's one thing for sure.
But he's 5th on the board. I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Chris Buescher 26th. Here's Jeffrey Earnhardt 36th. So 24th is Earnhardt, ahead of Bayne, Buescher, Stenhouse, DiBenedetto, and Suarez.
How about this kid? I mean, good grief. Bubba Wallace is sitting there in the 12th spot. That's pretty amazing for a guy that hadn't been in one of these cars.
Now, first time in a Cup car, first rookie stripe ever on the 43 since Christian Fittipaldi about 11 years ago.
But I just like, I really have watched him a lot, and we've been in his car here looking at him a lot. He seems so poised, under control. He's not excited. You saw him in the garage walk around. He's like, hey, don't worry, I got this.
Wow, he's going to take his steering wheel off and feel like they're good for.
Yeah, he's 12th. He's ready for round 2. Wow. There's the King.
I mean, there's only
and Dale Inman.
Yeah, only 8 minutes left, but you know, and I've seen a lot of cars go out and pick up, but I do believe he's safe.
Yeah, he's gosh, I know, I'm pretty sure he's safe. 12th. I believe there's 10 guys that get knocked out. 12.
And just remember, guys, you would need to leave pit road to start a lap somewhere around the 1 minute mark. That's to get that lap started. All you have to do is start it.
Yeah, and I think Larry, most of these guys are weighing out another lap on my tires. Really, it's almost like 2 because you this big old racetrack, get around here to get up to speed.
Look at the guy on the bubble. He has no intentions of making another lap. He got his 1 lap in, and that's what he'll start the race on as far as tires from the rear of the field. Talking about Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88.
And it's just like last week when there's one less set of tires. I mean, we saw people last week that were getting a little worried about running out of tires.
Here's Jamie.
I don't think Bubba has stopped smiling all day long, having a good time, and that was your goal today. But anything you could do differently? Is there anything left out there for this next round?
Yeah. My first time qualifying one of these things, and I messed up a lot. I really missed the bottom over in 1. Got it really tight off of 3 over here, and everybody knows I struggle through the tunnel turn. So I didn't know if where we'd end up. He just says, "Good lap. We'll talk to you when you get in." I'm like, "Where the hell's that at?" So it's a good day. I mean, I'm proud of our speed, proud of everybody on this. This Smithfield Fusion, it's fun. I'm pumped up. This is really cool experience for me. Very humbling experience, and pretty damn cool.
He's having fun, and he's doing a great job handling it all, guys.
Boy, is he ever. Now, Earnhardt is 24th. That's interesting since he doesn't plan to run the second round. Jimmy Johnson is 23rd. 2 spots away from being bumped. What's their plan?
From where we sit, how much time do you think you need?
Man, you better give it a minute.
Copy.
I mean, depending on if you want to coast around, you know, and then start the tunnel or not.
I think in that scenario we would just go straight out there right away, you know.
That's Earl Barbin and Chad Knaus.
Yeah,
and here comes Ty Dillon.
And yeah, Ty Dillon's already going to make it interesting if he completes the lap where he's at, already over a 10th up.
He's got the most difficult part of the track in front of him.
And he's only gaining, so I think there's a pretty good chance that Jimmy Johnson is going to have to make another round, or make another run here. But basically, Earl, one of his jobs, besides spotting, getting Jimmy out there in a clean spot, is to measure the amount of time it takes to leave pit road and come and cross the line to start that final lap if you need to, which is about a minute, he said.
Whoa, Ty Dillon is in, but only by 11/100ths of a second. He bounces Dale Earnhardt Jr., but now Dillon is on the bubble. Matt?
Mike, a few up from Jimmy Johnson. In the 19th position is Chase Elliott. We talked a lot about the different challenges of turning in a good lap here. Chase felt like that he had an issue in turn 1. It wasn't over driving it. He had a hiccup shifting. Took the entire blame, said he just shifted at the wrong time, and it cost him big.
Matt, was that driver or mechanical, given what happened to Dale Jr. earlier?
He said it was all on him, driver.
Okay.
Driver.
All right,
yeah,
I think Dale Jr. said the same thing, though. I think he said it was all on me.
Yeah, there's a timing. There's timing on the upshifts. It's how you roll out of the throttle, and because you have to lift in order to shift, even though you don't need the clutch. You still have to lift to do the upshifts and the downshifts. On the downshifts, it's all about the timing of matching the RPMs versus where you turn in. And as we've seen riding on board some of these drivers, there's different places where you can choose to do that downshift. You can do it early or do it late.
Driver 88 has left the building.
And you know what he said? Mission accomplished.
Yep.
He did what he wanted to do.
Guys, you know what? Across the board, Hendrick Motorsports right now, 19th, 22nd, 23rd, and 25th.
Green light on Trevor Bayne, trying to put his Roush Fenway Ford into the field, into the second round, carrying the colors and paint scheme that Ford is going to wear at Le Mans. They just completed the test. They're ready to race there.
Well, I was just going to go back to what Larry was talking about, and I definitely love to talk about Le Mans some more. But if you think back a year ago, who was battling for this win late in this race was 2 Hendrick drivers in Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Chase Elliott. They didn't get the win because Kurt Busch snuck by him and took him 3 wide. But they've got some work to do. That is not at all where they expect them to be. And Bayne goes to 15th.
You know what I notice? It's not the engine. Because if it was, the 42 wouldn't be running very well.
Well,
and the 1. So the 42 and 1 are both in the top 10. Those are Hendrick engines. So I don't think you could say the engines don't have the power.
No, it's not the power. And, you know, I think that so many of the cars are across the board in the manufacturers. The amount of difference in horsepower has been tightened up so much by the rules over the years. But you still always focus on more and more power. No, I think it's definitely it's handling, it's aerodynamics. That's where the speed's at about everywhere we go.
Every time I ask the crew chief what's wrong with his car, the first thing out of his mouth is aero. We just don't have the aero right. It's not the springs and shocks. It's always aero.
David Reagan and Cole Witt on track trying to break into the top 24. Jimmy Johnson on the bubble. Stenhouse is coming out. So is Suarez. And now Johnson rolls.
Yeah, Johnson probably ought to make a lap because there's some pretty good cars here. Suarez has got a car that's capable of knocking him out. So does Stenhouse. So I think he needs to probably roll another lap.
When he went really early trying to catch that cloud, if I had to guess, plus he's one of the first cars to leave pit road, I think he learned a lot about. I think he had to gap himself because of some traffic, so he had to go a little bit slower into the tunnel turn. He should start gaining the momentum that he needs to get put in a good lap here now.
Minute 40 left in this first round of knockout qualifying. Chris Buescher just rolled, trying to bump back in. Paul Menard also out there. Now he's 3 away from being bumped. He's coming to the end of pit lane.
I just don't know if another lap or 2 on your tires, these tires at this track, are going to hurt you that much. I just don't think it's that big of a deficit.
This is a tough place to pass on. I mean, you can come from the back, but usually it's through pit strategy.
Yeah, Stenhouse is coming. He might make it.
Well, I think we've been surprised at the lack of speed we've seen in Ricky Stenhouse's 17 car today. We've seen them qualify extremely well.
They're all green light, all three of them. Now Johnson is in, the other two are trying to bump in. Stenhouse will come to the line first.
Saw Jimmy go a little bit loose and wide off the tunnel turn.
He did it. 18th for Stenhouse.
This is
Johnson's out. Casey Kane on the bubble.
This is a lap you would like to have run in the first go-round, not having to go back out.
Suarez to 18th. Casey Kane is out. Danica to the bubble.
Johnson.
13th for Jimmy Johnson. Danica's out. Menard goes on the bubble.
This is what I love about having these knockout rounds, especially round one. This is a track where you can go back out and find speed. You start knocking cars out that didn't expect it to happen.
Well, what helps you is you come back in and you say I was loose. They make a little air pressure adjustment, gets the car where you can drive it faster, tack harder, get a better lap.
Stenhouse and Suarez tied. Stenhouse ahead on points, and the session ends now.
All cars can come back. All cars.
So everybody's good to come back and try to bump back in. Paul Menard's 51.38 is the bubble right now.
But see, Menard's got to push hard because he's got Danica Patrick behind him, who's putting up together a really good lap. Actually, she's a little bit ahead of him. He's a little bit behind her. He's going into 3. She's coming off of 3, but she's in 25th. Could bump her way in, and she could bump Menard out. He's putting together. He's putting a heck of a lap together though. Now he's going to find his way in there.
Kane's slower. Menard is in.
Look at Menard all the way out.
6.
Chase Elliott knocked out.
Knocks Chase Elliott out. Actually, Menard knocked Patrick out, and Patrick knocked Elliott out right at the end.
Elliott 25th, Kane 26th,
well, that's
Bill Jr. 28th.
That's knockout qualifying for you. By 6 1/1000ths of a second, Patrick advances. Kyle Larson fastest in round 1. Round 1 is complete. Positions 25 to 39 are set for Sunday's 400-miler in the Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania. Chase Elliott was in 19th when cars began their second run, and 6 cars went faster, setting him next to Casey Kane. They're on the 13th row. There is the balance of the field. Let's join Matt Yoakum.
A hiccup down in turn 1 as Chase Elliott called it. You didn't make a second attempt. Was that simply to save laps on the tires for Sunday?
Yeah, well, we were just, if we were to make it through, we didn't want to have another lap on our set for round 2 if we were to get there. Unfortunately, didn't make it. But, you know, that's a gamble I guess you have to make, you know, when you're close like that. You know, if you were to get in, you don't want to hurt yourself for that next round. You know, obviously I hate it, but we'll go to work tomorrow and try to get ready for Sunday and go to work there.
It was a great weekend for him last year. He finished 4th.
So 6 drivers going into round 2 have 3 laps on their tires.
It shows you how much pressure is on these drivers to go out and not just put a fast lap up, but make sure you have, all he had to do is make a clean lap. I believe the speed in the car was there enough to at least go to round 2, but it tells me a lot about the tires and what the way they're viewing how they need to manage the grip in the tires round 1, 2 to 3.
So to Larry's point earlier, 3 of the 4 Hendrick cars finished that session 25th, 26th, and 28th.
I just think they overthink the tire situation. I mean, you've already knocked the new off them. You put a lap, or really 2 laps on the tires. What's another couple of laps going to hurt? And that'll move you into the next round anyway, and that would have been big.
Casey Kane went back out and tried it. Jamie?
And just missed it, 26th for Sunday's race. Where'd you feel? I saw the body language. It looked like your car missed it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we missed it a lot. Like, I couldn't stop for the corners, so trying to drive in further to where Larson is, which is way further than where I even am there, and I still can't stop for the corner. So we just missed it a little with brakes. But once you screw the entry up and you can't get it slowed down, it doesn't suck the car down an entry, like, you don't really have a chance throughout the rest of the corners. So that's the start of it. And, you know, that's probably the biggest thing, really. I think after that, we would have been a little bit better, but some of those guys can go so fast. It's crazy how much faster they are than what I was.
All right, Casey Kane, a 2-time winner here, guys.
Yeah, and I think what he's talking about stopping, I mean, there's a number of things you can do, but here's what happens to a driver. When he drives the car past where he thinks, where he's been driving the car to, like I said, scares himself, and it won't stop, then that messes up your whole corner. I mean, it puts you up the hill, you can't get back in the gas, and it kills your lap. So car's got to be able to do what the driver needs it to do to make a fast lap.
Yeah, I mean, the further you can drive into the corner and the more you can slow the car down, that's just speed. And you heard him talk about Kyle Larson, who ended up first in round 1 and Kyle Busch in second, how deep they're able to drive in the corner, and that's where a lot of the speed is.
How about Paul Menard on that second run getting into the top 10? Great job there. But look at the disparity from Kyle Larson 50-38 to Danica Patrick 31-35. That's a full second. I believe that's one of the biggest margins we've had, first to 24th in any first round of qualifying this year.
Really
Yeah, this is one of those tracks where you'll see a pretty big gap, and it's just because of all the nuances of this tricky track.
That would be the tricky triangle, would it not? Round 2 coming up. Ricky Stenhouse, Darrell Wallace Jr. talking about round 1 and moving on. So who's the winningest driver in the history of Pocono Raceway?
It's a hard joint to win, I know that.
Hey, where'd that come from?
Look at that.
Yeah, sometimes those numbers just sneak up on you.
So is that 6 big lumps of coal at your house? Because it's a beautiful trophy, but it's made of coal, or at least it was.
I was going to say, of all of them, I don't know. They're very cool.
Yeah, when it was the Van Scoy mine, I think it was diamond.
The diamond mine,
yeah.
It was for a while.
I have a beautiful chunk of coal.
Which is supposed to become a diamond when?
Someday.
About 1 billion years from now?
Someday.
Okay.
Keep holding on to it. A lot of pride in that trophy because of how difficult this place is to win at.
24 drivers in round 2, and Ryan Blaney out to test the track right away in the Wood Brothers Ford.
Had a pretty good run in his first go round. I think he was 12th.
Eric Jones.
Blaney, he finished 10th in this race last year, and he's won a truck race up here, I think, back in 2013. So he's no stranger to this place.
In fact, all the major, we'll call the factory-backed Fords, made it into the second round. Kevin Harvick taking it easy down the Long Pond Straight to mind the gap.
Yes.
Well, and mind the tires. You know, there's no real reason. These tires already have a little heat in them from round 1, so you really want to manage those tires and get up to speed off of turn 4 the best you can, and also build that gap aerodynamically to get away from any other cars.
And ooh, look at that, 209 right there. You talk about that short shoot, though. You hit 180 miles an hour on that short shoot.
Wow.
It's amazing how fast these straightaways are here, even that short one. Let's see what he's got going into one. He was what was he, 208?
He was 208 earlier. Kenseth was just at 209.
7, 8.
208 again.
Backed her up.
But he got through there a lot better than he did that first time.
He
was pretty fast.
He put that
first
thing in
round.
third gear and nailed it.
Ryan Blaney be the first one back, and 50-37.
Wow,
that's a half a second pickup.
Let's say there's some speed left out there.
Eric Jones 51-27.
Well, it is cooling down, and there are some clouds around, so that helps. Every little bit helps.
Matt Kenseth 50-53, second.
Well, over in a second.
That's over a half a second pickup from his round 1. He obviously was leaving a little bit on the table.
7/10 of a pickup for Kenseth.
Larson is not really backing up what he ran in that first go round.
Well, I wonder if he overdrove turn 1.
Wow.
Harvick right there.
Harvick third with a 56.
Yeah, Larson's not going to be happy with this lap.
Wow.
50-90 for Larson.
He's slowed down quite a bit from round 1.
I think what's impressive at 21 and at 20, those are great pickups. Especially at 21. Man, that's a great lap.
Kyle Larson at 50-90. Not sure if that'll be good enough to advance.
It's going to be close.
Well, the good thing he went out pretty early. He can get back to pit road, get it cooled down, and get another shot at it if he needs to.
I believe he'll need to.
Micah McDowell 6th. Brad Keselowski 4th.
Mike, watching those cars
Busch 5th.
come across that tunnel turn, Mike, you hold your breath, because when you come across there and you got a lot of speed, you are inches away from that wall on corner exit. I mean, you're like, I don't want to hit it.
Here's Logano putting a nice lap together. He said he's found some speed. He's certainly showing it coming off of turn 3.
McMurray with an 86, 5th.
Kyle Busch right behind him, continuing what he showed in round one.
47 with a 3 for Logano.
Yeah, 47 with a 3. Up, Kyle Busch to the top, 42 with a 5.
Ryan Newman, Denny Hamlin out there. Austin Dillon coming back in. He did not take the green.
Mike, you know something that just popped up in my mind is Kyle Busch. You know he had one here. This is one of the few tracks he had one on.
Boy, Denny Hamlin's going to have to abort this lap. He got really wide off of turn 3.
Kyle Busch it's one of the 2 tracks here in Charlotte that he had one on.
Matt, what happened to the 3?
We documented just how tricky turn 1 is, and Austin Dillon said he simply just plowed through turn 1, just trying to get too much out of the car, way too tight.
All right, so apparently he did take the green and then aborted that lap.
Well, and again, we keep talking about the wind and the directions blowing at their tail straight down this front straightaway, and that can cause you to carry far too much speed into turn 1.
So, Larry, what were they trying to do to the 3 on pit road there?
Well, what they're doing, they're hooking the coolant lines to it now to cool the water back down. They'll make the adjustments. But remember, we're at 5 minutes to go. You need to be leaving pit road somewhere around that minute mark.
Martin Truex 6th, 50-57.
Yeah, Mike, you see the cow flaps open there. That's where those radiator coolant lines are.
And if they didn't have those cool down units, there's no way they could make multiple laps and runs in these rounds. So it's essential to get plugged up as fast as you can to start cooling all those coolants down.
Jamie Kyle Larson has dropped to 10th on the board.
And he told his team he got really loose off of one. He couldn't get to the bottom because the rear end just got out from underneath him. Every time he tried to turn the wheel, he apologized. They got him in here, cooling him off. He will go again.
Okay, Paul Menard 13th, 1 spot away. Matt.
Mike, throw the 11 at Denny Hamlin in that category as well. He aborted his run. The car way too free, brought it back, made some adjustments. They already hooked the cool down unit to it. He's getting ready to go back out.
All right, time to beat. Michael McDowell, 50-97. Clint Boyer.
Watch Bubba Wallace here. He's finding some speed off the corner, gaining on it. I don't know if it's going to be enough.
Almost 14th for Wallace.
I don't care. That's still pretty darn good for him.
You know what impressed me, DW, is watching him enter the corner. He entered nice wide arc, but he gained off the corners. What do we talk about? Heroes drive in the corner, legends drive off the corner. Well, at least that's what Chase Elliott told Jamie last week.
And that's what you told Chase Elliott. So where we go?
I do like that statement. I'm going to use it a lot.
All right, 16 of 24 drivers have taken time. Michael McDowell on the bubble, trying to advance. Boyer missed it just by a couple there. Patrick 17th with a 52-12.
How about this Michael McDowell? This is a 95 car. I mean, just awesome. A nice run by him, sitting there 12th. Good job.
Now a couple cars sitting at the end of pit road waiting like Trevor Bayne. 3 minutes to go. And still 7 cars have not run, Larry.
Yeah, the downside of waiting late in this round, that gives you a lot less time if you do advance to round 3 to get the water and everything else cool back down, get some heat out of the tires.
Well, and remember, they went out late in round 1. So by going out late in round 1, that takes more time to cool everything down, which forces them to go later now in round 2.
I think they'd just be happy if they could advance. I think that's what this is all about.
Now, of the 6 drivers that made multiple rounds in round 1 and advanced, only 2 of them have been on track so far in round 2, Menard and Patrick, to your point, taking maximum cool down time before they make that one and only run in round 2.
And everything works in your favor. You got to get the car cooled down, obviously, but the temps are going down. I mean, it's getting later in the day. The temps are going down. The track cools down. All equates to a faster speed.
And to that point, the wind every once in a while is dying down a little bit more, so you might not have to deal. You want that tailwind to take you down the straightaway and then stop right as it's time to go into the brakes.
Right.
Yeah, that may have been
Good luck with that.
That may have been Casey Kane's problem. You know, maybe he was going down there a lot faster than he thought he was.
You saw Austin Dillon come flying down pit road and went past the cars that were stopped there at the end. Everybody needs to be rolling here within about the next 20 to 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's getting down to go time.
When remember, that's rolling off carrying a lot of speed, going up through the gears and at maximum speed, not just rolling like we see Denny Hamlin just cruising around turn 1.
Yeah, hardly ever when we even one lap qualifying, we never left pit road like on a tear. You'd wait to get over on the back straightaway to pick up speed. You got plenty of time to get the car up to speed.
So save your tires through turns 1 and 2.
Save everything you could to come to the green.
I sort of like to feel mine out through the tunnel turn as I was coming to take the green, so I knew what I was going to be dealing with the next time I came through there.
And Kyle Larson's headed out.
He better, I don't know if he can make it around or not.
There's no way he can make it, not at 45 seconds.
He is still 10th.
Yeah, I think you're probably going to see him just roll around, Larry. I think he knows at this point. I don't know. He's getting up to speed.
He's 10th with 7 cars to go.
I just think he's going to put another hard lap on those tires, and he's not going to make it around.
Trevor Bayne, 51.29.
That is not enough. They got to call that. They got to call that to the house.
Told him to back off and just bring it home. And hope he's in.
Well, one thing I noticed about that 17 car, Jeff, it looks like the nose up pretty high on that thing.
They got the back down a lot, don't they? Make your nose almost look up.
So everyone but the 42 will finish this run. McDowell still on the bubble.
Johnson.
Will it hold?
Johnson just 17th.
Certainly not the kind of day that Hendrick Motorsports was looking for. Their best qualifying effort there, Jimmy Johnson in 17th.
Hamlin now 17th.
18th now, yeah.
Here's Allmendinger. Allmendinger 20th. And Eric Jones 15th.
Yeah.
So Michael McDowell makes it to the final round.
That's pretty impressive.
That is fantastic.
Good for him.
Carrying a great cause on their number 95. Kyle Busch is fastest with a 50.425 going to round 3. Here's the hero of round 2. Levine Family Racing's Michael McDowell times his number 95 Chevrolet into the final round of qualifying. And a nice charity gesture there by the team, the FDNY Foundation for the Fire Department of the City of New York on the side of that car.
Yeah, a little bit of road course here, you know, the way we shift gears. That's called a robo sometimes. Last time Michael McDowell made the top 12 was 2016. Guess where? Watkins Glen.
Jamie.
And Jimmy Johnson, the best of the Hendrick cars in 19th there. Well, we got a lot of wind, all kinds of things going on out there. What happened with your lap?
It's been a challenging practice session then into qualifying there. You know, some issues we've seen the last 3 or 4 weeks carrying over to here for qualifying for us, and we seem to keep, race fine when it comes time to race, but you know, highly frustrating to see it here in 19th, especially with the effort that we put into this. So we're frustrated and we're trying to get better. We just need to get there for qualifying, but you know, we can't hang our hat on our racing ability, and we'll do everything we can with the low Chevy to get it back up front once again.
All right, he talked about the work they put in that only practice session today, hour and a half, they only focused on qualifying.
So Jimmy Johnson locks into a spot 13 through 24 right here. Paul Menard misses it by less than 100th of a second, making it into the final round.
You know, I think it would be very disappointing, Larry, and Mike, Jeff, I think because the 48 only worked on qualifying.
Yeah, that's very frustrating, but we all know it doesn't matter where he starts, he seems to find his way to the front, but they are putting a lot of effort into qualifying and not seeing the results, something they're going to have to continue to work on.
So who will win the Coors Light poll? Stay tuned. Who will win the poll? 5 Fords, 4 Chevrolets, and 3 Toyotas are about to go out in the final round, and every one of them has only 2 hard laps on their tires. Not represented in that top dozen, Hendrick Motorsports. There's where their 4 Chevrolets will start on Sunday. So we listened in on Joey Logano, second fastest in round 2 with a pickup of 0.3 of a second from the first round. talking about the final round.
What are you thinking here?
Be prepared for anything.
If you left as soon as it goes green, you could go easy as long as you want because you know that everybody is on the same lap, you know?
Good point.
Well, I like that, you know, spacing himself out so he doesn't have anybody in his way. I tell you, I know I'm weird, but I want somebody just maybe right up there where I can see him a little bit, maybe get a little help down one of these long straightaways.
You like a rabbit and a little draft.
Just a little draft might help a little bit.
No bottle, give me a little draft.
That's right.
Okay.
Well, other contenders, I tell you, Joey Logano's got 2 poles here, so knows how to get it done.
Looks like Ryan Blaney's going to be that rabbit.
I think if you made your lap early in round 2, you can go about any time you want here in round 3. Just focus on getting a clean lap and just putting those 3 corners together and hitting those shifts.
Yeah, really and truly, you're in the top 12 now. This is when you go for it. You got to just let it all hang out, do everything you think you can possibly do, and hope for the best.
Let's find out how good Ryan Blaney got off of turn 3 and how much tailwind he has going into turn 1.
209.
And right down on that yellow line. That's what I like about it. He carried a lot of speed in there, but really got around the bottom of 1 and 2. Look, the car never even bobbled.
Yeah, turn 1's not going to be his problem. Can he get across the tunnel? He is motoring.
A nice lap together. Oh, a little wide there.
Yeah, pushed out a little bit there for him. Still carried nice speed. Got a little wide. A little bobble there, getting into 3.
Yeah, again, if you do that downshift early into 3, you're going to get a little bit loose, but I think there is a little bit of speed there. Real wide off of turn 3 again, similar to coming off the tunnel.
50-59, that's about a 10th slower than his quickest lap.
Now we can start comparing others. See, Kenseth looking pretty good through 3. Logano off the pace to Blaney.
Yeah.
And Logano's second with a 77. That's 3/10 slower than round 2. Now the wind has picked up down the front straightaway. Matt Kenseth, top of the chart.
53.
Almost identical to what he ran in the second round.
And Harvick pulls back to pit road. Now this round is only 5 minutes long.
Yeah, we're halfway through it.
Matt?
Harvick keyed the mic and said, I'm going to bring it back to pit road. Get ready to cool it down.
Well, I don't know if they have enough time to really do any of it.
He's only got about a minute.
Larry, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, right now they're sitting on 1 minute and 15 seconds to be able to get that thing cooled down, make the adjustment I'm sure that they think they need, and leave pit road. That's going to be a push right there. Plus, there's heat in the tires you can't take out.
And another lap and a half to 2 laps that you're going to put on them if you even go try to make another run.
Yeah, they got to hurry here because they're at 50 seconds. And they got to be
a lot of sparks out of this 18 car this weekend. I've seen that out of the 20 and the 18. Something they're trying out new in their setup where the back of the car is really low, especially the right side. Dragging.
That's what makes it fast.
Brad Keselowski third with a 50-62. And Kurt Busch now third with a 61.
That's in another atmosphere.
Whoa, 50-23, Kyle Busch.
When you go that fast, you're going to have a few sparks flying out from under that thing. That's amazing lap, 50-23.
Last week's pole winner at Dover. Kyle Busch out front by 3/10 of a second.
Yeah, catch me if you can.
Yeah.
A little bobble by Jamie McMurray through 1.
Now Harvick rolls. He's going to make it on track to make a lap.
That was a quick adjustment.
Yep.
I know we say this every weekend. Oh, this is the weekend. JGR is going to get it done, going to get back to victory lane. But Kyle Busch certainly has the speed as he's showing here in qualifying and been showing it lately. Can he get the win this weekend?
Yeah, look at
the question.
Kenseth's right there with him. I mean, there is a difference in their speed, but Kenseth's second. So Joe Gibbs' cars, Toyota's on the front row right now. Let's see what Truex has got for him.
McMurray 6th with a 74.
Truex is usually pretty fast. Let's see where he ends up.
Second, 50-40. That's his fastest lap. Ryan Newman. 9th for Newman, 50-84. That's his fastest lap.
And Larson just really hasn't recovered since round 2 when he got loose.
Boy, that surprised me.
50.68 for Larson. Better than round 2, but 3/10 slower than round 1. Micah McDowell 11th with a 50.87. That is his fastest lap.
And Mike, sometime when you push the car just a little harder,
All cars can come back. All cars.
push the car just a little bit harder and it steps out on you. It doesn't do what you expect it to.
And you kind of saw some of that from Kevin Harvick as he went through turn 1. Let's watch it, listen, going through the tunnel turn. Wow. Sounded like he downshifted.
It did.
But yeah, he downshifted, and now he's going to upshift and turn into turn 3 here. You'll hear him downshift again.
I think he's just trying to get it. I think he's just trying to get all he can.
But I noticed he drove into turn 1 pretty deep, but he was really playing with the throttle all the way through 1.
A hard-fought 12th for Kevin Harvick. That is the slowest round for Harvick, a 97 versus a 56 and a 73. Kyle Busch wins the pole, second week in a row. It's his 21st career Cup pole position and his second of the year. Here are your pole position winners this season. Of course, each one qualifies for the Clash at Daytona next February. Kyle Busch joins Kevin Harvick as multiple pole winners in 2017. Well, Kyle Larson had one great round, Jamie. It just wasn't the last round.
That's right. He qualified 7th for Sunday's race. A lot of fans. I'm noticing each week more and more fans yelling Kyle Larson. But let's talk about tomorrow. You guys have one practice session to dial it in. What kind of direction are you looking for?
Yeah, I thought earlier today in practice the track was really slick, so we started out in race trim and I didn't feel like we got like a good idea on how our car really is. I think everybody was really edgy that first 30 minutes or so of practice, so hopefully the track's a little bit similar to race conditions, I guess, tomorrow, and we can get a better idea. But our Target Chevy, I thought, for as bad as it was driving in practice, had good speed. Our first round of qualifying was really good, and then I didn't even feel like I was driving hard. So the second round, I tried to get a little bit more, and just got really loose into 1 and killed that lap, but was able to transfer the third round. And then I backed my entry back up into 1 and still got loose, but was able to get to the bottom. And then I just got really tight off turn 1 and killed my lap. But turns 2 and 3 were pretty good, I thought. So if I could have just got through 1, okay. I've been a few positions probably better.
All right, Kyle Larson looking for his first win here at Pocono. Matt?
Jamie, from day one, the Mattioli family. It's been all about racing families right here. You can see Autograph Alley taking place in Michael McDowell, very popular. Your best start before today, 27th. You knocked down 11th. Where's the biggest impact from this run for this team?
Yeah, that's a big jump going from 27th to 11th. It's just all the guys back at Levine Family Racing putting together great cars. Bob and Sharon have given us a great opportunity this year, and Todd Parrott and John Leonard to lead the guys. We unloaded with a good car, and we just made it better every run, and that's what it's all about. We haven't been great in qualifying, but we're coming off of 3 straight top 20s, so we've had good cars, we've had good speed, and today I think we finally put it all together for the FDNY Foundation. This is for all the firefighters in New York and all the first responders. It was a fun day.
It's very cool, Mike. In fact, one fire department's helmet came over the fence for him to sign. Hundreds still left here waiting for his autograph.
That's terrific. What a great cause to represent, and what a great result in qualifying today. Want to see the starting lineup? Stick around. Kyle Busch debriefing on the phone there, likely with his crew chief Adam Stevens under suspension for 4 races after losing a wheel there last week. We presume that's the phone conversation. He could be on the phone with the president. We don't know for sure. Jamie.
Well, Daniel Suarez coming off his career best finish of 6th at Dover. Then you were testing up in Chicago, and now you're back here. Another first for you. What do you think of this place?
I feel like I've been in the race car every day this week. Well, overall, I like this place a lot. I feel like last year was my first time ever here in the Xfinity car, and it was a big challenge because the weather wasn't great, so we didn't have a lot of practice. We went almost straight to the race, and we had just half race into, to make it official, and that was pretty much it. So coming into this week, I feel still a pretty new driver into this place, but so far so good. Getting better every single lap, and getting more confidence in the Cup car and in the Xfinity car as well.
Yes, pulling double duty once again, and he'll start 14th on Sunday, Mike.
Here's the starting lineup for 400 miles of Pocono on Sunday. Toyota's the first 3 spots. Ryan Blaney breaks up that party in 4th. Kurt Busch, best start of the season, in 5th. Kozlowski, Larson, McMurray. Logano, Newman, your top 10. McDowell makes it into the final round, and Kevin Harvick fought that car to a 12th place start. Menard just a miss, and debut for Darrell Wallace. He'll roll off 16th.
That is an incredible accomplishment. Great job today, young man.
Yeah, look at some of the drivers he beat in qualifying today.
A lot of big names
Great
he's
effort.
ahead of.
Really good. Proud of him.
All right, it wasn't the president. We're told that Kyle was talking to Dave Moody on Sirius Satellite Radio.
Well, that's the
I was
Godfather.
gonna say,
So
he looked like he was in a serious conversation with a radio host, Dave Moody, which Dave can ask some serious questions.
The ARCA Series live from Pocono. That's coming up next. And then stick around on FS1 as Fast Friday, presented by K&N, continues with the setup at 7:30 and the trucks from Texas at 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
You want to miss that truck race, I tell you. That newly repaved track down there, they're hauling the mail.
So congratulations to Kyle Busch, who backs up his Dover pole with his 2nd in a row for Joe Gibbs Racing and Toyota. Kyle Busch and Martin Truex own the front row for Sunday in Pocono.